Hello and welcome to episode 18 of the Little Dynamite Knits podcast. My name is Sarah and I live outside of Philadelphia in Pennsylvania with my husband Brent and our three cats, Gustav, Gracie, and Gertie. It is Saturday. Saturday, November 29th. Thanksgiving was 2 days ago. And I'm right in the middle of my Thanksgiving break. I actually also have off on Monday, so I still have 2 full days off, which is awesome. I keep almost laughing because I've had this recording now for almost 2.5 minutes, but I kept either yawning or laughing or getting distracted or forgetting what date it was or forgetting what episode this is. So we're winging it today. I didn't put down any notes. I hope I cover everything. It's all visible to me so I can see everything I want to talk about. But it may be a wild ride because we're just going to wing it today. Here's what we're going to talk about. And I will try to do the chapter things where it has like the timestamps in the description. That way, if there are certain things you want to see and you don't want to see or that you want to skip to, it's all there. So we're going to talk about finished objects. I'm wearing one of them. We're going to talk about a half finished object and 3 whips, 3 active whips. We're going to talk about spinning. We're going to talk about my plans for Vlogmas and the 2 craft-related advents that I have this year. And we're going to do a giveaway because I've said on a few episodes, once we get to 200 subscribers, I'll do a giveaway. And we're there. We're actually at 219. So if you're one of the new folks that have joined recently, hello, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. If you're coming back, thank you for coming back and sticking with me. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and do that. Hit the subscribe, like this video. If you want to ring the bell, have the bell notify you, click the bell. I've already admitted that I don't do the bell because I don't love notifications, but if you do, go ahead and hit that bell. So we are off to a fantastic start. Let's just get into it. All right, finished objects. First one is my Traveler shell. This is a pattern by Andrea Mowry that I have been wanting to knit since 2024 Yarn Centric. I was there with my dear friend Susan and we went to all the booths, but at the Forever Yarn booth, Yan of Forever Yarn in Doylestown, Pennsylvania, sort of a local yarn store, not too far away from where I am. She had a lot of Lobby Aime yarn and excuse me. She had a lot of Lobby Aime yarn there, and then Aime had a bunch of her samples there. She was actually there at the booth, and one of the samples was a Traveler shell, I believe in Yellow Brick Road, two different skeins of Yellow Brick Road on, I think, the Helix base, and then the Kumo, which is the lace weight, one of the lace weight bases from Lobby Aime. I tried it on. I'll put a photo here, and fell in love with it. That was a size 5, so I knew I was going to need to do at least a size 6. Ultimately, I decided I would do a size 7 based on my gauge, but I misread the beginning of the pattern, really how many stitches to cast on. So I actually ended up making the size 8, and I'm glad I did, because it comes in a little bit closer, which I really like. So let me, we'll stand up and show off. So it's a very cool construction. You start from the bottom and you do your ribbing, and then you do your back, you do the front sections, and then you actually use a 3-needle bind off to seam together to create the shoulders. It was my first time doing that, so that's fun. The yarns that I used were Helix by Lobby and Aime in the vintage barn colorway. This yarn, I only had to buy 3 skeins of this, and this is how much I have left of the 3rd skein. So because it's like over 700 yards, 710 yards in each of those. And then for my lace weight, I used, this is the Swimming Surrey base from Pasley Knits, and it is in the colorway Live Another Soul. And this is what I have left of ball number 4, and I actually still have 2 more. So I definitely ordered more yarn than I needed to. Probably could have made this a little bit longer. If it were another inch or 2 in length, I would not hate that. But I just love it so much. So these are the 2 I held together to get this awesome, awesome fabric. I wore this to Rhinebeck on Saturday, to New York Sheep and Wool at the fairgrounds. This was my official Rhinebeck sweater. It does not have pockets because I couldn't finish them in time, but I will eventually knit those and get those sewn on. But I love it. It's just so nice and cozy, and it was really fun to knit. But I'm going to take it off right now because somehow I'm a little warm. So I think I'm going to need to put a tag in this because I'm constantly like having to look and remember which side is the right side and which side is the wrong side. So I need to put a little tag in here. The pockets will also help with that once I eventually get them done. So FO1, I finished this a couple of days before heading up for New York Sheep and Wool. It officially was done drying the Friday night before Sheep and Wool. So that was back in the 3rd weekend of October. All right, and then my other FO was the Jacques scarf by Laura Penrose, and I love this. Here's one side. Oh, it smells like my wool wash. And here is the other side. Halfway through the middle, what is called the main color switches. So I used Woolberry Fiber Co. The Berry Rambouillet base. It is a worsted Berry Rambouillet, 100% Rambouillet. I believe it's non-superwash. It is a worsted weight yarn. The pattern calls for DK. And as I was making this, I was really worried that it was too dense of a fabric. I wish I could tell you what size needle I used. Okay, so I went back to my project and I wanted to look up what needle size I used. So I used a US size 6 or a 4mm. And I used almost all of the yarn. This is a really cool pattern. Where did I start? I believe I started here. So on one side, you have this double knit border, and then you do an I cord here, and then you use intarsia to do the striping. So there's definitely some yarn management. You actually have to split your yarn up before you start this project. But I love it. And when it blocked out, it's way drapier. And it's just, I love it so much. I probably will make more of these because it was so fun to knit, and it is super fun to wear because you get the 2 sides. So there it is with the darker side on top. I love it. And this one is a good length for tying around for a little warmth and a fun accessory. So this is the Jacques scarf by Penrose. I highly recommend this pattern. It's a good spot in between like the really short little scarves and you know, the longer scarves. Similar shape, I think, to the, what's it called? Sophie scarf. Similar shape, I think. Also similar to the Jaunty, which is actually one of my whips. So I am really enjoying these quicker accessories lately after quite a bit of garment knitting the few months before this. So those are my finished objects. And then my half-finished object, do I have sock blockers? I am halfway done my mom's Christmas socks. It's not even the end of November, and I've already gotten one of her socks off of the needles. This yarn is June Pryce Fiber Arts. June Pryce, Pryce. I will link it below. They were vending at the Knitter's Day Out in Enola, Pennsylvania. And I took Mom with me and I let her pick out her yarn for her socks this year. So this was the color she chose. And I did, the pattern is called the Pie Socks. It's a pattern from Carlie Perrins, who is Northwood's Knit Co. It's a pattern she released on Pie Day 2023, I think, a couple years ago. This is the sock pattern I have always used for my mom's socks. I think this is the 4th pair I've made for her. I do a size 2 for her. Usually I do a Turkish cast on because I do these toe up. There is a cuff down version of this pattern as well, but I do toe up. Usually do a Turkish cast on. For some reason I did the Judy's Magic cast on this time. I think I just forgot what I usually do, but it's fine. It still works. And then it's a, we're going to start that over. So the pattern has some texture. I do 74 rows for her foot. It's a gusset and heel flap because you're going toe up. I do 53 rounds for her legs and then 15 rounds for her cuff. So using a US 1. And then I think I'm like 30 rounds into the foot of sock number 2. But if you look at the back, you can really see, there we go, how pretty all those colors are. So because it was so pretty, I just decided not to do a contrast color at all. I'm just trying to use as much of this yarn as possible. And then the leftovers from this will probably go in my bag with my the other fingering weight leftovers I've put aside for my anthology throw, my scrappy anthology throw, which is, I haven't worked on that in quite some time. So that's my half finished object. And then I have 3 whips. So let's see. I think this one is the easiest. So I am making Brent a Finest Kind sweater. It is another bottom-up sweater. Someday I will knit a top-down garment. It just hasn't happened yet. But this is a pattern by Alicia Plummer. I am using Cascade 220, the non-superwash base, and the color, which has my hair all over it, the color is Red Wine Heather, I believe. This is 100% Peruvian Highland wool, 220 yards. So this is the color he chose for his Finest Kind. It is so soft. Like for a non-super wash yarn, it is ridiculous how soft that is. So here is where I am. So this is a double moss stitch pattern, but then on the sides you do, it's like a faux seam up the sides. So you do that on both sides, which I really like. It has a rolled edge on the bottom. You do a couple knit rows and then you go into your ribbing, which I love. I did less ribbing. I think I did 12 rows of ribbing maybe. And this has all mostly been worked on the end of October into early November. I don't think I've worked on this in the last week because I've got a few other things going, but yeah, here's where I am. And I'm using just these really pretty stitch stoppers that I got them during the Philly yarn crawl. And then I have a few different markers from Hello Lavender and then a Progress Keeper, also from Hello Lavender. It is so squishy. I did put it on fake barber cords to make sure that it was going to be a good width, circumference around Brent's body, and it fit very well, stretching it a little bit because I know this will stretch when I block it. Maybe not as much as superwash, but the moss stitch it's stretchy. So I will definitely stretch it a little bit when blocking it. And I think it's going to be, I mean, as long as I get the length right, I think it's going to be a pretty perfect, like cozy, sweatshirty fit for him. So very excited to be working on that. Also for Brent, this is his yearly Christmaka knit. So I am making him a Snuggle is Real cow. So the Snuggle is Real is a pattern by Maxim and I've already made one for myself. We'll put a picture here. And Brent, I had him try it on and let me know what he thought of it, and he loved it, how cozy and squishy it was with the lace weight, the lining on the inside. So I had him pick out colors, and this is where I am on his. So ribbing at the bottom with one color, and then you add in the second color, and it's mosaic knitting, so it's all slip stitches. I am using fingering weight held double for this, and it is somehow even squishier than the one I made for myself. So the yarns that he picked out are, and I want to find the labels, and I know I have them in this bag. There's two. Where's the third one? There we go. Nope. There it is. This is in my one of my 2 Matter Root bags, and I really love this one because when you fold it over, there are kitty cats playing with yarn balls. So the blue color is from ZeeZee Textiles, and it is her old sock base. I ordered this a year or two ago. It was her Scotland collection, I believe. So it is a pretty light fingering weight. It's 463 yards for 100 grams, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and it is a 4-ply. And so that was one color he chose. And the gray that he chose is from, so I'm holding the yarn double, so I can't put like a yarn cozy on these. This one's so this is from Heathered Handmades, and this is her simple sock base. There's her label. This is Heather. She's in Texas, and the colorway is Graphite. This one is 438 yards, 100% superwash merino. So it is just the littlest bit thicker than this one, but they really work well together. And then for the lace weight, he chose from Woolberry Fiber Co. This is their old Surrey base, which is 74% Surrey alpaca, 26% silk, 328 yards. So this is a thicker Surrey, and I actually used the same base when I made mine, and I ran out of it. Like, I used every last bit of it for the lining and had to use a different Surrey for the I-cord. So, but I have 2 skeins of this, so I will be okay for both the lining and the I-cord using this. It's like a cool gray. Almost looks purple in some lights. So that's what we've got all together. So again, it's not even the end of November and I'm this far, which is pretty awesome for me. Keeping December as stress-free as possible. That's the goal. And I did, for the provisional cast on, I used a crochet hook, and then I didn't knit any rounds with the waste yarn. I just went right into the pattern because there's no real need to do that. All right, that is whip number 2, and I don't know what I did. Here it is. All right, and whip number 3. Inside my redesigned project bag number 10, I am doing a Jaunty. I have been influenced by everyone, and actually what really did it was I have been holding on to this yarn for a few years, trying to find the perfect project for it. So this is from Treehouse Knits. She did a winter solstice fade, and it's on the Sequoia sock base, and there are 7 50-gram skeins. It was a surprise fade. You saw the inspiration photos, and then it was a pre-order. The base is 80% superwash merino wool, 20% nylon. It is my favorite 2-ply 80/20 base. 7 50-gram skeins, so 350 grams total, 1,400 yards. So I am using it for a Jaunty. This is a pattern by Andrea and Mowry, and everyone's knitting it. Skein Yarn Shop and the Skein Scoop podcast, they are doing a Jaunty along. So this will be my entry for that. But I started with the lightest color, and then I did a few stripes going into color number 2, and then some stripes here. I'm now in color 3. The plan is I'm going to go to the darkest at the center and then work my way back to the lightest at the other end. I think it's going to be pretty big. This is only into the first half of the 3rd color, and there are 7 colors. So what I'm doing is they're like 53, 54 grams each after I weighed them. So I'm knitting until I get to like 33, 34. Then I'm starting the striping. And then once I get to about 30-ish grams of the previous color, I cut that and then continue just with the next color on its own. This is half Fisherman's Rib. And it looks so good in these colors. So from here, the next colors are going to be, so this is number 4. And then, is that number 4? Yes. And then number 5. And then 6 and 7, we get quite dark. So this color will be the one in the center for the widest part of the scarf. So this is, I just pull this out when I need a break from the gift knits that I'm working on, and it's very enjoyable. It's fingering weight, so it'll take a while, I think, because I'm going to try to use as much of the yarn as possible, make it as big as possible. But it's not going slowly. It's very satisfying. It's like an 8-row repeat, very easily memorizable, perfect for TV knitting. So yeah, so those are my whips, which means now we get to talk about spinning. All right, y'all. I finally learned how to use my e-spinner. So I have the electric eel, the most recent version from Dreaming Robots. I bought this, took it home with me during the 2024 New York Sheep and Wool Festival. Since then, it has sat on top of my yarn winding station, just sad and neglected and calling to me like, hello, are you ever going to learn how to use me? And so finally I did. As I talk about this, hold on, let me pull up some, because I'm going to be sharing some photos and I want to make sure I'm accurately kind of describing this whole process that I've been on. So, the first things I started were, I had a breed exploration pack that I bought from Kira Wiggins. I bought this at Indie Untangled in 2023. So it was called a breed exploration starter pack, and it had 6 little bumps of fiber, undyed, and different breeds. So I think one was all merino, one was Polworth, one was Rambouillet. There's a few others. I haven't used all of them. And the first 2, I think, that I used did not go well. I'll put some pictures here. I was posting to my Instagram stories, sharing my frustration. At one point, I said that this might drive me back into weekly therapy. I thought that I needed to personally apologize to the sheep whose wool I was destroying. And then I got some Instagram messages from Kevin at Needles at the Ready. And he just shared with me some tips on tensioning and speed of the spinner that just made it all actually click in my head. So the difference between, hold on, let's see. So the difference between my first 2 bobbins. So the first one, trying to think which way the photo will be. I'm going to have to do this like this because I will not be able to. Nope. Wait, come back. Okay. So this was the first actual bobbin that I kind of successfully spun. This was the second one. Together, they gave me this cute little baby skein. So this is officially my first ever 2-plied spin. There's not a lot of it because these were just little bitty bumps. It is very uneven. It's what a first spin should be. It's like everything a first spin should be. Some parts are spun very tightly, and some parts look like they're not quite spun at all. Some parts are very thick. But she's yarn. She's yarn, and that's all that matters. So that is all that matters. I don't know that I will knit anything with this. I might just, once I actually, do this gallery wall that I've been talking about forever, I might just hang it on like a little peg because she's so cute. So from there, I still did not feel comfortable jumping right into using like one of my precious hand dyed multicolor braids. But I had these two solid colors that I had gotten during this year's Philly Yarn Crawl. And so I decided that I would spin those, do 2 bobbins each, and ply them together to get a marled yarn. So I had 4 ounces of this like gold color, and then I had the other color was this like mossy green. So I did 4 bobbins of those, and then they just sat for a while I tried to work up the courage to learn how to ply. Plying is easier than spinning, at least the way I'm doing it. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, but plying is so much easier than actually spinning the damn singles. Plying is fun. Spinning is fun too. I should mention that as I show these next 3 skeins, when I get into something and I enjoy it and I finally figure out like how to do it, I tend to hyper fixate. So I've spun all this, I've plied this in a relatively short period of time because I do like multi-hour long sessions. I don't think I should be doing that. It's definitely not good for my hand. And even in here, I'll start to, because I'm very out of shape, I get a little tired from doing the drafting motion and then the plying for hours at a time. So I need to be better about taking breaks. Don't yell at me, Andrea. But it's just so exciting. So here are the 2 skeins I got from those 2 colors. I am just, like, come on. How cool is that? It looks like yarn. So I think this is probably, well, you know, depending on which strand you look at, I think this is anywhere from like DK, maybe even sport, up to bulky, definitely worsted. What should I make with these? Because I would like to jump right into knitting with my hand spun. I just think, at least for these first 2 that were really just for practice, I want to make something. I'm thinking of, there's a Jen Geigley pattern. I think, gosh, I don't know when it came out. It's a free pattern. It's called the Gap-tastic Cow. I think it's based on something that you could buy from the store, the Gap, many years ago. And probably for a stupid amount of money, but she put out a pattern for it. And I think this might make a really fun, cozy, chunky cow. Or I could hold it double and just make like a super bulky hat. What do you think I should make with this? I don't know how many yards it is. I have to unwind it and measure the length of the side of the hank and then do all the math to tell me how many yards it is. But what would you make with this? Have I asked that like 5 times already? Can you tell I'm so excited? All right. Then it was time to attempt some color changing yarn. So, oh, hold on. Let me just show you this photo. No, I'm so bad at this. Look at, okay, we'll put it here. I had it like after washing it and just had it kind of like in a pile after it had dried, and it's just so pretty. Okay, moving on. I had a braid of fiber that I bought from Maryland Sheep and Wool this year. So it is from, her name is Sandy Baldwin. It says For the Love of Fiber. I tried to find a link. I tried to find an Instagram and I could not. If you know this and you can help me out, if the damn thing would focus, there we go. So this was 4 ounces of gray and white merino. So you can actually see that parts of this were gray, dyed on the gray part of the fiber versus the white part. So I spun the first bobbin on Tuesday of this week, the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. I spun the second bobbin the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. I then plied them together on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and then Gracie Gramokin. This cat is determined to ruin all of my Chalgu needles. What are you doing? Soaked the yarn, hung it to dry, and it was dry by toward the end of Thursday night, but like really dry Friday morning. So, oh, I just took it out of the skein form. Okay, we'll show it this way first. This is my first color changing spin. I have no idea if that's in focus because I can't see it. Let's try it this way. How about that? There we go. Look at all those colors. Don't look at that. She's got character. It had been so long since I actually spun, because I waited so long to learn how to ply, that definitely had to get back into it. But came back pretty quickly. And so I did measure this, and I have about 210 yards of this. So I guess this is kind of overall a worsted weight yarn. And I don't know what I want to make with this. There are so many colors in this that I think, like, trying to pair it with a two skein project with one skein color changing yarn and one like main color, I think it would be hard to pick a main color for this because there's so many different colors, and I think you would lose sections of it. So I think this needs to be a one skein project. So worsted weight, one skein. Could I get a traveler cowl out of this? It's probably not enough. I could definitely get a hat out of this though. So that's my first color changing yarn. Spinning is fun. Spinning is so much fun. Oh my gosh. I'm like kicking myself for waiting so long to actually learn how to use my e-spinner. It has been really fun. It has been humbling at times for sure. But the end result is just, it's I don't want to say it's not better than knitting, because knitting brings me joy every day, every time I do it. And I'm very much a process knitter. Just the act of sitting and knitting is my favorite part of all of this. Spinning is satisfying in a different way. It feels like something I shouldn't know how to do. Like I shouldn't be able to make yarn. But now I am. So yeah, this has been a lot of fun. All right, that leaves, what does that leave? Did I say I was going to talk about Vlogmas at the beginning? I am going to talk about Vlogmas. Let's do the giveaway first though. So I went through my stash and I pulled out these, I think, really pretty skeins that I think could go together in a project. I think they have enough similarities in them. This one's lighter. This one has more green and this one has more yellow in it. But I bought these two skeins at a shop down in Virginia. Brett and I we went away in September last year. I think it was 2024. It was around Labor Day. The trip and the Airbnb ended up being not the best. It was like one of those trips where you're like, each day you're trying to like make the best of it. So one day we found like this little market, and there was a woman who had a little yarn shop where she sold hand spun yarn, hand dyed yarn. So it's called 10 Good Sheep. So 10 Good Sheep in Virginia. I think there's a website. I will put it down below. This is fingering weight yarn, 60% superwash merino, 30% bamboo, and 10% nylon. They are 100 gram skeins. They are 3-ply, and it says approximately 434 yards per skein. So, what's that? 868 yards. Don't check my math. So these are going to be the giveaway. What should the word be? So in the comments below, if you would like to be considered to buy, and this will be together. I'm going to keep these together. So one person will win both of these skeins of yarn. And I will pay for shipping and in the United States. So the word can be, this is what happens when you don't make notes. All right, the word is going to be good. Good. So the yarn is from 10 Good Sheep. So put the word good somewhere in your comment and you will be entered to win these 2 skeins. All right, let's talk Vlogmas. This year, I only have 2 craft-related advents, and neither one of them have mini skeins. So the first one, if you also ordered the Woolens and Nosh advent for this year, and you don't want to see the main color, the color in between the striping colors, you're going to want to look away. But this is the Woolens and Nosh 2025 Advent. It has a Pacific Northwest theme. The bag it came in, the design is incredible. It is by, her name is Christine Parker, and it is fantastic. The bags that these advents come in are perfect because the yarn is already separated into 2 balls for you, and the button snaps in the middle, and then your main color, okay, you're going to see it, comes out each side. So you can keep it and you know when to stop knitting when you get back to this main color. This will be my 3rd year doing this, and here is the mini skein with the main color for this year. So either tonight or tomorrow, I will knit the toes for my socks. So I do a DK weight vanilla sock. I do them 2 at a time on the same circular needle on a 40-inch US 3 circular needle, which reminds me I need to pull one of those out. So I will get my toes done either today or tonight or tomorrow, so that on Monday, December 1st, I am ready to go to the first actual striping color. So that's one advent. And then my second craft-related advent is a cross-stitch advent. Oh, a cross-stitch advent from Caterpillar Cross Stitch. I did not know that they did an advent calendar, but I now follow them on Instagram since I've been sharing more of my cross stitch on the podcast. So I saw the post, and so I did the pre-order. They actually, I don't know how they did this, well, other than, you know, just like working their tails off, but they got these shipped to their international customers because this is a UK based company. They got these assembled in time to ship them before all the tariffs went into effect. So I just learned which way not to open this. All right, let's try this again. Look at this packaging. So there are 24 boxes inside. Some of them are small. Oh my gosh, look at the critters on the back. Some of them are medium. And some of them, 4 of them, are this size. I have no idea what is going to be in these. Probably some needle minders, maybe some floss, maybe some Aida fabric, needles, maybe some snips or scissors. I don't know. I'm so excited to open this. I don't know if this is like you can make a project as you open each day. I really don't know what I'm in for. I'm just really excited. So those are the 2 advents that I will be opening each day, the non-craft related advents. I also have this year's jam vent because my favorite thing about December is waking up every morning and making coffee and having toast with my jam vent. We did not order a coffee advent this year because we're just really enjoying a local Philadelphia roaster that we love. They're called Reanimator, and we just really love their coffee and like supporting them and do a subscription with them. And so no coffee advent this year, but I did get Brent a really fancy chocolate advent that looks, it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. I will show it once we start opening them. And then I have a capybara. I have a capybara figurine advent. I think they're like super little, but one of them I know is playing a violin, and so I told Brent I had to have it, and he found it. So I will be opening that as well. So let's talk Vlogmas. Last year I did Vlogmas for the first time, and I did every single day, and it was so much fun. However, this year, I'm just realizing now I didn't like do any sort of like life updates or what I've been up to. That's what happens when you don't make notes. Work. How much do I want to say about work? Not a lot. Work has been like, I'm going to say it's been beyond stressful, which sounds like I'm exaggerating, and I'm actually not. It's like, that's an actual understatement. We are going through an extremely difficult time at work. I'll just say I'm lucky that I'm going to be keeping my job, but I'm not going to have the same title or be making the same amount of money anymore. Thank goodness for yarn stashes. All that to say, I am not going to be recording. That's not true. I'm going to be recording every day. I'm not going to be uploading every day. I don't know if it's going to be like twice a week or every 5 days. I think weekly is too little. Like, I do think I want to do at least 2 videos a week. But it's ultimately going to see what's going on, and how much I've filmed, how much we've done. One of the things I love about Vlogmas is that doing it last year really encouraged me to get out of the house and do fun holiday things. The holiday time can be difficult for me, I'm sure for many, and doing Vlogmas actually made me excited about the holiday season. And you know, my go-to default is to hibernate, not just in the winter, like all year long, but doing Vlogmas made me actually seek out fun events and things and getting together with folks. So it's very good for my social life. So yes, I will be doing Vlogmas, probably at least 2 videos a week, but it's going to be flexible. But I will show what I'm opening in the cross stitch advent, and I will show my socks as I'm working on them, but then I'll also just share all my other projects and everything going on. Other than that, other than work, probably the most exciting thing that's happened recently was I had to go out to Pittsburgh for work for one night. So I got to meet up with Rachel and Renee of the Table 10 podcast. I sent them a message to let them know that I would be in the area. So we went to this really cute Christmas market, and they had food trucks. And so we walked around the vendors, and then we got some barbecue from one of the food trucks and just hung out. It was not cold enough that we couldn't sit outside, and we just sat and talked for a while, and it was really great to spend some time with them. Love that they're sisters doing this. Love that they're in Pennsylvania. So, and just really enjoyed the opportunity to hang out with them and get to know them a little better. So I think that's it. That's everything around me. I talked about everything I can see. So I think we nailed it. Sort of. Today is Saturday. December starts in 2 days. I hope that wherever you are, that you're doing well, that you're taking care of yourself, doing things that bring you joy, whether that be a craft that you're working on, a podcast you're loving, a book you're reading. Please make sure that you are taking the time to do the things that you enjoy and that help you get through everything else. I will be back probably relatively soon with my first episode of Vlogmas. If you made it this far, I know this was a longer one. It's been a while since I've done project updates. Thank you for sticking through to the end. Don't forget to comment with the word good for a chance to win these 2 skeins of yarn. And if you would like to find me elsewhere, I am little_dynamite on Instagram and little dynamite on Ravelry. I will see you next time. Bye.